Alrighty, it's time for another Honkai Star Rail video. And in today's video, I'll be covering Apocalyptic Shadow. And for this season of Apocalyptic Shadow, the buff is a little bit different. Normally we get like a energy boost or a damage boost. This time around, we instead recover skill points and restore the HP of all our allies. This basically allows us to run sustainless teams a lot easier, along with the basic attack and skill damage boost. Now moving on to the two teams I used for this season of Apocalyptic Shadow, starting off with the first half. I brought back someone that I've basically forgot and have neglected for a while, and that is my Fei Xiao. So for my Fei Xiao team, we have Fei Xiao herself, and then my newly built Remembrance Trailblazer, who actually is pretty damn good when paired along with Fei Xiao, someone that does a lot of multiple attacks and follow-up attacks. Even though Fei Xiao doesn't really have an energy pool, which means that Mem won't get her charge as fast as she normally would with someone with a high energy pool or high energy regeneration. I believe the support that the Remembrance Trailblazer, along with Mem, the bonus damage and advance forward, makes up for the fact that Mem charges a little bit slower than normally. And of course we have Robin as our support, the best follow-up attack support that pairs with Fei Xiao. And March 7th as our secondary follow-up attacker and second damage dealer. To be noted though, I was hesitant to bring March 7th or even use this team in the first place because the boss is resistant to imaginary, but it ended up not being that big of a deal as the majority of the damage is coming from Fei Xiao anyways, and the mobs die fairly quickly even if they are resistant to imaginary. I'm actually not sure if Aventurine's dice are resistant to imaginary, but even if they were, March was doing quite a bit of damage to them regardless. As for the buff, I actually made a mistake here. I chose the follow-up attack buff that ignores all type resist and can reduce the toughness. Regardless, the boss is already weak to wind, and March 7th has some built-in toughness weakness ignore, so she'll break the toughness bar regardless on Aventurine with some of her basic attacks. I honestly should have chose the second option here that increases the speed of all my allies and reduces their damage taken. This would have made my runs a lot smoother and reduced the amount of RNG when it comes to mob aggro. So yeah, if you're trying to run the same team I'm running, or trying to run a sustainless team, I believe the second option, the second buff, is the best one for you to pick. And on to the second team, I used my Acheron team with a bit of a change here. So we have Acheron herself, we have Fugue as our second Nihility character. She'll also be providing her buff to Tribby, who is the new addition to this team. Yes, this is a very gimmicky team that only works if you have Fugue. And you also need to have a really fast Tribby. Normally people will run Tribby really slow just so she can deal more damage as like a secondary DPS. But for this particular team, I'm not worried about Tribby's DPS or damage output. I'm more worried about how often she can generate Crimson Knot stacks for Acheron. And with the help of Fugue and a very fast Tribby, she'll pop off. Acheron will be getting her ultimate up in no time. And for our last teammate, we have Pella, who is another debuffer with a low energy cost, allowing Tribby to cast more follow-up attacks, as well as providing even more defense break. As for the buff, this is pretty obvious. If I'm using Acheron, I'll be choosing the third one that boosts both ultimate and skill damage by 50%. Alrighty guys, and as usual, I hope you guys enjoy the gameplay and commentary. We start with March's technique, the Trailblazer's technique, and then we initiate the fight with Fei Xiao's technique. The Trailblazer's technique actually comes in clutch because we do need the delay versus the extra energy from Robin, believe it or not. We do run in a bit of a skill point issue here because the skill priority goes March 7th, Robin, and then we can always summon Mem later. We need the follow-up attacks from March, and we need the damage boost from Robin. So, it's okay. Mem will show up here shortly. Here we get a bit unlucky. He hits March, and usually the run breaks here because March usually dies, but somehow the bounce attacks did not hit March too many times, so we still live, luckily. Alright, so Mem is here. And Mem's going to actually now push up Fei Xiao and give her the true damage buff, and you'll see here shortly. Not yet, but later when we start hitting Aventurine, that true damage adds a lot of damage to Fei Xiao. Alright, here we're just going to basic and then immediately pop the ultimate on Robin so we can advance forward and prevent Aventurine from taking his turn. We also pop the ultimate on Fei Xiao as she's maxed out on her stacks. Forgot the name of it, but anyways, she maxed out at 12 stacks. So use it on a die here. This will open up his weakness bar. And I believe here we basic into the ultimate. Here you're going to see Mem Power. Boom! Just kidding. It doesn't do that much damage, but it does look really cool. I love the animation. And it does actually chip down on the weakness bar for Aventurine. Allowing us to do this. He's now weakness broken. And now take a look at how much damage this ultimate from Fei Xiao does. With a Robin ult and the true damage buff from Mem. Look at that. Look at this. Over 1,000,000 single target damage. Absolutely insane. We have the skill points, so we're going to use the skill on Trailblazer here. It doesn't matter if Mem needs the health or not. We use the skill when we have available skill points to charge up Mem as fast as possible. Alright, going to aim for the die here. I'm going to push up Fei Xiao again. I actually check here to see if the true damage buff is gone. It is. So I have to buff up Fei Xiao again. If it were still on Fei Xiao, I might have put it on March 7th. You can actually have that buff up on multiple characters, if you guys didn't know. We go for the basic there because I felt like a skill was just overkill and a waste of skill points. All the extra attacks don't actually do anything to the other die and Aventurine. And I figured the basic attack was enough. Alright, Robin's ult unfortunately ended. I still use the skill here because I want her to get her ultimate up as soon as possible. So that will allow her to regenerate more energy. Alright, we got lucky here. Aventurine hits the best target, which is Robin. That means more energy, and she's also probably the tankiest or the second tankiest character on my team. Alright, we're at 32. Now we hit the 22 die. And now we're at 54. Now we just need the 2x die to die, and then we'll be able to expose Aventurine's weakness bar. I believe I used the skill here again on the Trailblazer, just like I said, for extra charge. Yep, go for that. Pop Robin's ult immediately so Aventurine does not get his turn. Get the 2x die, pop the ultimate. This should kill it. And this will also expose the toughness bar on Aventurine. Nice. And here we go. Another ultimate. Power of Mem. Boom! Alright, and we also get a buff up Fei Xiao again. And here we go. Look at the damage here, boys. Look at the damage once I pop Fei Xiao's ultimate. Look at that damage. This is going to hit 1,000,000 even when he wasn't weakness broken. And then it'll pop the buff once again. And we pop another ultimate and this should be it. Absolutely insane damage. And that's the first half. On to the second half here very shortly. We use Triby's technique, Fugue's technique, and then we initiate the fight with Pella's technique. Alright, we've done this boss before in Apoc Shadow before, in a different season. The trick or mechanic behind this boss is you have to hit these stupid monkey banana things a certain amount of times, and then it will cause them to become weakness broken. So for the trick on this half, you just need to bring characters that hit a lot and do AoE damage. So a lot of follow-up attackers or a lot of AoE damage dealers. We have both on this team. And we already have that first Acheron ult. This does a decent amount of damage, 800k on non-defense broken enemies. Alright, they're all weakness broken now. And believe it or not, you can actually chip down at their toughness bar. It's not a lot, as you can see even Pela's skill and then the ultimate. They don't really do a lot of toughness bar damage. Here we're just going to basic as well. Honestly, I should have saved the Acheron ultimate here for when they woke up. I tried to get the bar all the way down. I thought I could get the bar all the way down with the ultimate. I couldn't quite do it, so the smart play there would have been to save the Acheron ultimate for when they all get up. Because then you have another hit on their counter right there. So we're going to pop the Fugue ultimate here. And believe it or not, I actually need to use the skill here instead of the basic. One thing, we're full on skill points. Second thing is I want Fugue to be able to basic attack once we get into the second phase. I don't want her to be wasting her turn using her skill on Tribi during the second phase, because the second phase you need those extra hits in order to keep the enemies down. Alright, so we weakness broke him. We should easily kill here with a Acheron ult. Once they get weakness broken in this phase, Acheron does so much damage. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. 4.3 million. We popped the Paean ultimate right before this annoying TV takes their turn and drains our energy. This actually allows us to weakness break one of the mobs that advances us forward, so that's even better. I'm gonna choose this mob here, because it's gonna, what do you call it? Trigger his count to 4 out of 4. Get some skill points back. Okay, there we go. Nice, we got the energy regen. And then we're going to attack these two with Acheron. Pop the ultimate. It's not going to do nearly as much as if they were weakness broken, but it's still pretty decent damage. 900k.
No holding back.
Now we're going to basic with Fugue, as you can see. If we didn't use the skill earlier, then we probably would have had to skill that turn. And we wouldn't have been able to weakness break that dinosaur. We're going to pop all the ultimates here. Because once, as you can see on the action bar, there's like a little monkey icon thing. Once they take their turn with that, it's like their special move. It drains all the energy from your teammates. So if you have any ultimates up and available, you want to use them right now. And this is the special attack. And it drains some energy. Here, I'm actually deciding whether or not I should use my skill or basic. I thought about it, and I thought ultimately I want to end this now. So I decided to use the basic into the ultimate. This allows Tribi to follow up attack. This weakness breaks one of them, advances us forward. Tribi takes her turn. We use the skill for the damage boost, and then we use Acheron's ultimate here. So we'll trigger another follow-up attack from Tribi. And it'll actually end up weakness breaking one more mob and fully breaking down the monkey banana. And once we're in this phase, we can, it's an auto kill once Acheron gets our ultimate. We just deal so much damage. I'll pop the Tribi ultimate again. Acheron's gonna skill. And with this, Paean skills, ults, and we have enough Crimson Knot stacks for the ultimate finish on Acheron. And we get an extra Tribi follow-up attack, I guess, as well. Just for extra damage. And boom! Look at that damage. 4.6 million. And we finished this season with almost 7,400. Not bad. Okay, let me quickly go over my characters and their builds. Starting off with Fei Xiao. These are her stats. Light Cone is cruising in the Stellar Sea at S5. Traces, all maxed for her basic and the defense, which may or may not have mattered in surviving in the Sustainless run, but whatever, I did enough attempts, I eventually got it down. These are her relics. I was very surprised. I thought she had, like, okay relics, but it turns out some of these pieces are actually pretty damn insane. Like that one's good. This one is also pretty damn decent. This one is alright. Yeah, it's alright. Would have liked it to roll more into crit rate or attack, but I'll take it for what it is. This right here, I mean, you guys have seen this before already. I put this on my Imbibitor Lunane, but it's the thing is, normally I don't run a base speed Fei Xiao, but the fact that I had the Remembrance Trailblazer for the extra advance forward, I figured, okay, well, I'll run base speed Fei Xiao, and these boots are just... These are the best pair of attack percentage boots I have on this account, and I don't think I will get a pair that will ever beat this. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Her only weakness, honestly, is the Planar Sphere and Link Rope. I don't have a dedicated set for her. Actually, yes, I do. I have the Izumo set, but I would prefer the, what do you call it, the Duran set, obviously. This is also not too bad overall. As for Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 0. Okay, moving on to the Remembrance Trailblazer. These are his stats. Do I need to show Mem stats too? Screw it. Let's show Mem stats. This is Mem stats as well. Light Cone. I actually have him on the free-to-play Light Cone, Victory in a Blink at S5. As for his traces, these are his traces. Not fully traced up yet. I still think I want to unlock all of these, obviously. The crit damage is always good for overall damage, and then this is for survivability. I think after that, we're pretty much done. I might put one more point in the ultimate. Believe it or not, the ultimate actually does do some pretty decent, like, AoE chip damage in some cases. And it's guaranteed crit once you have E6. These are his relics. I just have him on a 2-piece speed set, or two 2-piece speed sets, and the Broken Keel set. I want him as fast as humanly possible. And now that we have two available 2-piece speed sets, it's pretty easy to hit that 160 speed threshold for all your characters. As for Eidolons, I got him to Eidolon 6, even though it took a lot of grinding. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy the Amphoris storyline, but it's fine. We got him to E6. Alright, moving on to Robin. It's pretty much the same Robin I've been running for the last year and a half, since I pulled her. Lycone is, but the battle isn't over, at S1. Traces. Still needs more work. I'll probably max this out once we get the double drop event. Moving on to her relics, she's on a 2-piece attack set and the Fleet of the Ageless set. Eventually, I do want to swap her over to a energy regeneration set, preferably the new Lushaka set, but I don't really want to farm that domain, so I might have to use the relic remains that I have to craft it or something along those lines. As for Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 0. And last on the first half is my March 7th. Ideally, I would like her to be a little bit faster, like the 160 speed, but I would have to sacrifice some of her relics in the set, so I don't really think it's worth it. This is her Lycone, only silence remains at S5. It actually is a pretty bad Lycone, particularly for that fight, because there's always going to be more than 2 enemies, so essentially this is just a huge attack stat stick, but I didn't feel like building a different Lycone for her, so it is what it is. These are her traces, maxed out for the most part, at least all the important ones. As for her relics, like I said earlier, I could make her 160 speed if I wanted to, but I really want the Musketeer set and the Rutulin set. It just boosts her damage up by quite a bit. It's just really, really good. Honestly, I could probably hit the 160 speed too, with just the Musketeer if I had a better headpiece and a better orb for her. None of these have speed in their substats, unfortunately. As for Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 6. Alrighty, moving on to my Acheron team, starting off with Acheron. These are her stats. Lycone is her signature Lycone at S1. Traces are fully maxed out, other than the basic. Relics, I have her on the Azumos set and the Pioneer set. As for Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 2. Alright, next is Fugue. I did change her build up a little bit, believe it or not, to fit this particular fight. Usually I don't run her on any energy regeneration because I'm not worried about her ultimate uptime, but for this particular fight, especially when you pair her with Trivi, you definitely want her to be ulting more often than not. Lycone is the Sweaty Lycone at S4. Yep, still not S5, unfortunately. These are her traces. Relics, I still have her on the Forge set, although I don't think it really mattered for this particular fight, where we aren't building a traditional break team, so the extra break effect really doesn't matter. Neither does this set. If anything, I would have preferred an energy regeneration set, but all the other pieces were being used up on other characters, so this is the best I could do, especially with the ER rope. Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 0. Alright, next is the newly summoned Tribi. These are her stats. As you can see, my Tribi is a little bit fast compared to the average Tribi, with a base speed of 96 and somehow ending up with 161 speed. Not many people can do this, nor should they, as this is not a really good build, especially if you want your Tribi to actually do damage. My Tribi literally tickles the opponent, but that's not her job. Her job is to generate Crimson Knot stacks for Acheron. Her Lycone is Dance 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 at S4. Yep, I still don't have an S5 Dance 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 yet, unfortunately. These are her traces. I've been working on her traces all freaking week ever since I pulled her, and this is the best I could do for now, and frankly, it's probably good enough. The most important thing is the ultimate. Moving on to her relics, very simple. I just slapped on 2 speed sets, along with the energy regeneration set, as you can see here. And I gave her some of my fast, well, I guess some of these pieces aren't that fast, but with a 2-piece speed set, it really doesn't matter how much speed substats as long as you have it there. As for Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 0. Alrighty, and last but not least is Pella. These are her stats. Light Cone, I have her on the tutorial Light Cone at S5. This makes her a lot easier to build. I don't have to put an effect hit rate chest piece on her, and the extra energy regeneration is going to be insane, especially paired along with Triby's follow-up attack, so her ultimate uptime is pretty much almost always up. These are her traces. Probably should have put more work. There's a little extra effect hit right here, and honestly, I don't know if maybe this would have made a difference in some of her energy rotations if I actually level this up to around level 8, but I'm trying to be stingy with trace materials, as usual. These are relics. Once again, double speed set with a energy regeneration set, specifically just for this fight. Normally, I'm not even worried about energy regeneration on Paean because her energy cost and energy regen in her kit are just so low, and she has a very high energy uptime, or not energy uptime, ultimate uptime in general. As for Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 6. Okay, well that's going to be it for this Honkai Star Rail video. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace!